This back up. Put this back up. All right. Set this here in the way. Pull this up. So I can have the chat monitor in front of me. And switch this over to all messages, please. Beautiful. All right. And then that. I need to pull this up for my reference. All right. Bet y'all thought I forgot about this. And the answer is, I almost did. But I did not. I remembered in the morning, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to stream Monster Hunter today. And then I went, oh wait, it's not Monster Hunter season now, is it? It's February. Which means it is Games I Love season. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to be doing 4 different games that I love over the course of this, like this month. Should be 4 streams worth, hopefully. But yeah, so I chose for the first one Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I will admit I do normally pick games that are not big content series for my channel, and this game was for a while. It was my main, like, not main, I guess, but like as far as like the random streams went, I did stream this a lot back when it had first come out, in 2021. I was playing this game just about as heavily as everyone else was, so I did stream quite a bit of it, but now I'm here to actually stream specifically my favorite aspect of it. But first I'm going to do like a quick little house tour, just because it's been a long time since people have seen this house. So you'll see here, this room, my entrance area, this is actually heavily inspired by my college. So like we had these like white linoleum tile with like black speckles, and then there was like a pattern in it where there were black tiles, and obviously it wasn't a checkerboard pattern, but this was like the closest I could get. And this table here was like our table that we had in our common area, but I'm also using it because I just got this in the mail literally today from one of my villagers. Stitches gave me Catan, which is crazy. But I thought that would be a really good way to represent Board Brains and how that happened while I was in college. So I have that there. This little desk in the corner reflects like, my work desk, and this mini fridge you can change clothes in. And I also got this like as a gift from a villager recently, which is cool. And then this little moss ball is to represent in my last, like towards the end of my time at college, I had this little moss ball, or not moss ball, but I had this, we had 2 pawpaw trees that were growing. They have since died, unfortunately. Deer ate them, even though they are deer resistant. I think that people lied to us. Or there were 2 deer that each had 1 piece and went, I don't like that. I never eaten that again. And it was too late, and we lost ours to that. But yeah, this is to represent those. And then I have a little poster that I made that is meant to reflect the esports team I was on. And then the rest of this welcome mat here, we actually have at our door. This is basically a one-to-one recreation of it using more accurate eye colors, because this was like on like a custom welcome mat website. There were options, but they didn't have all of the options that would most reflect our cat. So I did tweak the eye colors myself. But that is all this room. This room over here is my reject room. And there's going to be a reason. You're going to see why I'm showing this off. So this used to be where I put my turnips, hence the nips here sign. And the floor made of money. But this is now where I put just extra little gyroids that I have. Mostly if they just did not fit the vibe of my main room or the music in the next room I'm going to show you. But yeah, that's where I used to keep my turnips. My main room, though, or the other room that I referenced here, is my bathroom with a T-Rex and prison bars and a huge assortment of prisoners, which I am going to slowly grow as time goes on, as I find ones that have good pooping sounds. I don't know. I wanted this to be a room with music you could poop to. And then there's the T-Rex here to scare the poop out of you. And also escaping his prison. Our prison. I don't know. This T-Rex is probably modeled based on an actual fossil. I don't know which one. And then I got like a bathtub in here because it just felt wrong to have just a toilet and a dinosaur. And nothing else. Why is there no sink? Great question. I will not be answering that today. And then I've got up here a room. This room is based actually on this house. Don't mind this chair. I don't know why I can't customize it myself. And there is a black version, which is this chair is what it's meant to represent. But so be it. For now, it is just red. But we have my little computer in a corner, which this is a little bit half. So this room originally reflected my bedroom at my mom's house before we moved to here and moved in. So it's a little bit of the layouts inspired by that, but this is kind of representing a bunch of stuff that doesn't quite coherently come together as like a true representation, similar to the other room. Like it's more capturing the vibe than the essence. But there's like this carpet that kind of looks like the carpet we've got. I have tissues because I constantly sneeze because we have cats and I am allergic to cats. I've got a snail.
You agreed to have cats?
Yeah, no, I love the cats. They just make me sneeze. I am that type of allergic to cats where I'm like, well, but I love them. It's worth it. I got a Majora's Mask recently because they added Zelda stuff, and I like that game. Got wedding photos on the wall, which are quite crispy, but you know, shrinking a high quality photo to 32 by 32, you're gonna have some hiccups.
I
but
love her faces on the right.
I know.
They're so good.
It's like at a distance they look really good, but obviously if you get like up close and personal, it's a little like, ugh. This wall here is based on you can't see it because it's not in here, but in our bedroom there's an accent wall that's just like that dark wood paneling that was popular a long time ago. So this is like just to represent that a little bit. And then I have my merch collection where each of the shirts up above represent different merch that I've made for this channel, actually. So you can see there's my original logo, which I still have that shirt buried somewhere, presumably in a drawer. I have the gray one that was when my logo was like DB, and then there's like the line slashing through. Then we've got the interlocked logo that I went to where there's like the D and the B, but they both kind of hang outside of the circle a little bit. And I also own that exact shirt in that color. which is actually like I chose the colors that I chose to represent the ones that I specifically owned of them. We've got the I'm a Banana Peeled Rage shirt. Well, Locus Operandi logo there, and we got a little on the back. Can't really show it because if the wall goes away, it goes away. But on the back, there's the Board Brains logo, kind of simplified. But it does wrap around to the edge pretty accurately to how the shirt actually does. So that's pretty cool. I quite like that one. It's not a perfect one-to-one recreation, but I think it's good enough. And then we've got the newest one, which I designed that shirt in Animal Crossing first, and then made the shirt based on that, which was an interesting experience. But I think it was very cool and led to me making a very cool shirt that was very hard to make in the tools that I have for that. But it's really cool to have that be the prototype that you can wear in game, like so, and also own in real life and wear. And I think this is probably like the coolest shirt design I've done. Just I love the way the purple and the black kind of like zigzag across it before they kind of come to a little end point where the other one zips across. I think that's just very neat. And then this is just my final project from college. I made a little shirt that's like vaguely tie-dye inspired, that has Rizzio on the front and Tristitia on the back. Sadness and happiness. I kind of wanted to make more of that shirt with the other characters, but I was like, man, that would be a lot of work, and I don't know what the other pairs would be, so I didn't want to do that unless I had a clearer image in my head of like what I wanted them to be like. But yeah, that is this room. And now I shall go back. Only 2 more rooms to show, and then I can actually get into the meat of this stream. So if we go down my stairs, this is my shark room. It is a collection of animals that are sharks or related to sharks. And I just put them in my basement in what I can only assume is the healthiest possible environment for them. I wish these big tanks were just, this style. That would be way cooler, but because then you could see the shark through the side of it, but that's fine. Yeah, I got a whale shark, great white. I think this is like a sawfish or something, guitar fish, I don't know. One of those guys, and then this is my hammerhead. Yeah, that room, very straightforward. It's got my sharks and shark adjacent creatures. But the room that matters today is this room. I have spent more time on this room than just about anything else in this game. I have about 260 hours in this game. Each of the designs you see in here was probably a bare minimum 20-30 minutes. Currently, let's see, there's 10, 20, 26 plus 6, currently 32, plus the hats and shirts there. So it's presumably about 36 designs so far, and all 36 of them taking about close to half an hour. So that's a lot of time for any one thing in this game. I've spent probably about 16 hours on the stuff in this room, if not longer. One of these, this one here, I made during not a live stream, but for a video, from a time when I wasn't going to be able to stream. So I made this little like hoodie, and so that's actually, there's like a time lapse of me making that, and I think that's cool. But we're not just here to look at these. We're here to make more. So I have a system for doing this, and the system literally was updated today. There's a lot of things that changed today. Basically to take the exact colors that we have on the pixel art for all of these different Fakemon, and convert those into the colors that are used in this game, because it's not the same scale. What I work in when I'm working on sprites is I work in a hue, saturation, value color space, which is 360 degrees of hue from red to red, 100% saturation at maximum, and 100% value at maximum. It's a little different than a hue, saturation, luminance scale, which is what Kirby Air Riders uses, for example. In hue, saturation, luminance, the luminance and the saturation are linked in a different way, such that if I remember correctly, a max luminance will always be pure white and will always have a saturation of 0. You can't have 100% luminance while your saturation exists, but with a value you can. So basically the way you can look at it is, say I want red. I will pick the hue that is red, and then the saturation range will be from white to fully red. And then the value is based on that saturation. 100% value is the brightest it can be at that saturation in that scale. It's a little weird, and they come to the same things, but the way that they influence each other is a little different. Hue, saturation, luminance is often described as a little more reasonable to how we perceive color, which is fair. I'm just used to hue, saturation, value, which thankfully this game uses. However, my hue, saturation, value is different than this game's. So I said I had 360 degrees of hue, and I had 100% and 100% of saturation value. This game uses a scale of 30 colors for the hue and 15 colors each for the saturation and value. You might be realizing that that is not a lot, and it is not. So that is kind of the biggest hurdle. Is, how do you translate these over? Well, the easiest thing is to know that a 1 in this is equivalent to a 0 in the normal color scale that I work in, and a 100 in the normal color scale I work in is equivalent to 15. And it is a directly scalable thing. So if I said I need 50% luminance, 50% value, I know that in this game that will be option 7 in the brightness scale. So I'm gonna get in and actually start working on one. And you will actually notice I do have a sprite. Don't mind this. This was for my brother. He had a birthday. So the one that I'm going to be working on here is going to be in the sweater design. So here we are. We have our sweater. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my reference page here that tells me all of the things that I need to know about this. Fun part of this reference page is, before, what I would do is I would enter my hue, I would enter my saturation, and I would enter my value. And then that would spit out the color, vividness, and brightness that this game uses. Like so. However, literally today, my good friend Mike hit me with a thing, because I knew that you can convert hex code into RGB values. I did not know how you convert from there into a hue, saturation, value scale. Now we know, we have that formula. I was able to put that formula in and have just direct, like, boom, boom, boom. Here's your translation of these RGB values into hue, saturation, value, and then that is automatically being translated, as it was before, into color, vividness, brightness. and then I can just go sort into the kind of color space design layout that I like to have, and then just go from there. So very simple. And then the other thing I learned how to do today is how to export a text file that is just a list of all the hex codes for each of the colors in a sprite, because all of our sprites are indexed. And then I can literally just copy that list, paste it into this Google Sheet, and goes, and now I have all of the color information I could possibly need. So the first color I'm going to need here is 1 and 1 and 13. Right now I'm on 15, 14, 13. The next color is also going to be 1, 1. And that is going to be at 11. So if we know that's 13, that's 11. Oops. So 1, 1. There's a number of shades of gray here. This one goes straight to 7. I can eyeball that. That's dead center. Next color, 1, 1. And we're going down to 7, 6, 5. And then we go over here, 1, 1. And we're going down to 2, which is almost true black, but not quite. And then our last one here will be 1, 1, 1. So just darker, just slightly darker. And this also actually allows you to see how the brightness is controlling how the saturation can work. So you can see that, like, with this maximum saturation at this level is honestly, it's not as saturated or red as you would think you could get to, but it's the maximum at this brightness value. And you can also see how the saturation interplays with the values. As I look at this one, you can see, well, at this saturation of blue, you can see how that impacts the, array of brightness values below it. Very cool stuff. I quite enjoy doing that. But anyways, the next color I need is 5, 14, 14, and then I'm going to need 1, 5, 4, 3, yep, 13, and 9. So here's 7, 8, 9. So I'm just going to real quick save these colors. And now I shall move on to the next colors. So now I need 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I need 12. So if I start at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, I did not start at the right point. Don't mind me. Oh wait, I'm realizing I think this is 8. I think I miscounted because this is 15, and so dead center on 15 would be 8, not 7. Whoops. Let me just check my one that had a 7. The 7 brightness on color 3. This needs to be 1 lower. And then this needs to be 1 lower. Yes, okay. Teehee. Don't mind me messing that up. Alright, so this one, our vividness is 12. So I'm just going to start from the top. 5, 4, 3, 2. It's on 12. And then I need to be at 7 in that color. So next is 6. And I can cross-reference by doing that. You can see that those two are in the same position, which is how they're supposed to be. 12. And then this one is... I don't know why this one's backwards. That does not align with how I sorted things. Yeah, I'm just gonna nudge one up. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna make this first one 9, and then this one will be 7. And then the next one is the same. And then this is down at 4. And then the next one's got 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we've got 9. Well, we're already there. And then we've got 9. We're already there. Cool. Then the next one is going to be an 8, a 9, and a 7. And then we go to 8. There we go. Then 9. And then down to a 5. And then I'm just going to set this to something like really extreme just so that I know this is not a color to use. Yeah, let's pick a color that's not in use. There we are. Perfect. So here we have now a fully recolored thing. So thankfully I do have, for ease of reference, a copy of the actual sprite here pulled up and ready to be referenced. So my plan is for the front of this one to represent, so this is kind of a mass of bugs. It is a fake one that represents pestilence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the front of this starting in this color. And I'm going to, it's not going to stay, or actually, let's do the front. I'm going to start in this color. And then we are going to sort of make the layered, wrinkly abdomen of sorts. I'm seeing 4 lobes here. Oh, I should. Pull that in. I think that's pretty good, though I do want this to kind of match the shape a bit more. Just honestly, bit more plate-like almost. That feels a little tall. So I think what I'm going to do is pull that back a bit. And then we can do the second one. Which I'm also feeling a little tall on. Part of me is thinking I need to shrink this one back again. And then I need to start this one. A little higher. Whee! Okay, don't need to go that far out. Okay, and then I can boop, 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 and boop. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lighter color here. And then I can use shading to create kind of the layered effect that this should have. And you might be like, why are you pillow shading? You're not supposed to pillow shade. And the answer is, we don't have a particularly present light source here. So I'm gonna pillow shade a little. Just gonna do a little pillow shading. It's fine. A little pillow shading won't hurt. It's not the end of the world. And then what I can do is I can kind of add a little more directionality to it. Yeah, why not? Let's go all the way up there. And this one doesn't quite need it because it kind of just gets cut off at the bottom, which kind of helps reflect what the actual design here does, because it goes quite low on that last lobe. So yeah. And that feels like it gives you a little bit of that sense of like shaping and structure. Hypothetically, I could come in and add like a little highlight to these if I wanted to be extra kind of grody. But I don't think that's particularly necessary here. And if I did do that, I would want it to be maybe a little more pronounced, like. But that, you see, that feels a little too strong. But maybe want it to be a little higher too. But see, that almost gives the impression that there's like eyes there, so I'm not gonna do any of that. I was getting lost in the sauce a little. Could be cool, but not a fitting for this design. All right, so that's our front for now. There is going to be an overarching pattern that I want to kind of put across the back. I don't know yet if I want to include that on the front. But there will be some stuff on the back to add some more detail. So let's switch over to the back. So I'm gonna start the back at this fill color, which is pretty good. A delightful color. So the back kind of has this like raggedy spikes going on. So I'm just gonna like do this. So it's 6 apart. Okay, let's do these closer. So then we also keep it off the collar. There we go. Still a little... I'm realizing I also didn't do it quite at the right distance on that one, but I definitely want to go a little tighter still. Yeah, that fits snugly there, and I quite like that. Think, yeah, I like that. And that starts around here, the one above. Okay, but it's over here that it starts. Don't want it to go. Okay. Maybe do something that kind of comes out. And I can't fully see these ones, but I'm gonna assume that that's a pretty good shape. We're just gonna assume. We're gonna let that be. So that should start here. Go out, and then if there is room for one more, I shall do it, and that would be from here. There's not room for that one. Okay, that's fine. And then what I will do instead is... A little low. Should probably pay attention to that. So this is kind of like the bottom zone of where I would want to be.
Why do you want eggs?
It's the tiniest little overlap. I don't know that that will look good though. So I'm gonna remove it. I don't want to make that call and then have it look stinky and stupid. So I think that will do. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna add a little extra tuft there. So that's pretty good. And now what I want to do is I want to go through and provide some shading to this. Yeah, I think that's how I want to do it. Okay, and that gives it a little more of a sense of like, oh, these kind of stick out. And then what I want to do yeah. Nope. It's a nice high detail back. Yeah. All right. Now to the sleeves. The sleeves are going to be interesting on this one because they start at this color However, they are covered, and I mean covered, in bugs. Also, I do apologize that I am only just now catching up on chat a little bit. Can I see the time stamps on these? No. No. It says no, I'm not allowed to. Maybe I can do it over here. It does have just. Oh, yeah, I see it. It was a little while ago. I apologize for the delay. I get locked in on things like this. WePlay would be fun. I don't know that it would be all that easy or fun to do just from a standpoint of I only have like one good Wii remote right now. But I do enjoy WePlay, and I think it would be fun to do. At some point, I have my Wii U hooked up, and I am able to pass it over to my computer to be an input source whenever. So that is an option. I will say that I do keep that in mind. Quite in mind. Okay, so the flies have a black outline here. Towards the end of the sleeve, there are more. Okay, I want a fly here. And I'm gonna need another one kind of here. Yeah, it's pretty good, I think, that positioning. And they have wings that stick off. Those wings are the 40 color, which is the third one here. I did select the correct one. And those wings stick in one direction down. Then on the inside, kind of like that. Kind of like that. That works for me. I'm kind of replicating how its fingers look. The flies utilize the 10. Okay, so that's this one. I was correct on that. And then all three of these flies have a little bit of extra wing coming off in this direction that is smaller. And less pronounced. Yeah, that's probably good enough on those. Because those are the most, like, clearly detailed ones we've got. Doing alright. Just making a beautiful little Animal Crossing sweater based on a fake mod that is Pestilence, which is actually right there. This guy. Oh, right. It looks like the next row up also has 3. I'm keeping an eye on it when I can. Sometimes I get locked in and I forget to look. Which that is my own fault. So these ones are smaller and less emphasized flies. So I'm not sure how I want to do that for the middle one. Looks like this is so tempting. Let's bring these closer. Beautiful. And then the set above these just has 2. And then there's like a whoa, one on the shoulder type deal. Maybe pull these ones out a bit. Doot doot doot. Doot doot doot. So there we go. Yeah, I'm realizing that now that makes it look like they're in the exact same. It's not the exact same structure. A similar structure to the one that is below it. I mean, my options are kind of limited there. Yeah, this will have to suffice, I think. That's fair. I'm not personally looking for anything. I do my own, for the most part, I do my own, like, I can't think of the word right now. Graphic design. You could say it is my passion. Which that might be a bit of an exaggerated statement, but I do quite enjoy graphic design. Okay. So these ones, they stick off kind of like, ooh, like so. Don't want to lose too much detail there. Oops, started a little high there. There we go. This down. Oops. This color. Okay. doesn't look too bad. I do kind of want to see if I can fit anything here to kind of complete that. Okay, and then the way I have this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Don't know if that's going to translate directly over here. Yeah, that translates fine. Woo. Yes. Okay. So now I've got that. And then what I can do is I can take this, go to the shadow color. Oops. This was here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go kind of along the undersides of these guys. Yeah. Yeah. And since these ones are big, I kind of want to put a little more shading around some aspects of them. Okay, and then we just have to take this. I'm just going to say flip and copy. I don't think there's any asymmetrical portions to it, but just to be safe, do that. And now, that's pretty much done. And so the last detail that I add to these is each one of these, they are fake ones, so they all have a Pokedex number. And I just need to find a spot where I can fit this one's number. My numbers are 6 tall. Animal Crossing number set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those will work. They're just not. It's a little awkward how it's structured, but if I have no choice, I have no choice. I need to fit 194 on this. So 194. I'm going to utilize these colors. Woo. These are the eye colors on it, on its main eye. So I figure that these would be kind of fun to utilize for this. To fill like the gaps that are formed. $194. Yeah. Quite like that. I put these in like all sorts of different locations. So on this one, it's on the front and pretty much dead center, like on the chest. Sometimes I do it like really low on a design, or like off on a corner. But I'm pretty happy with how this one looks. And I think one thing I do want to do. No, I think it's good. I think it's good. If I did more, it would overdo it. Infest Storm. So, what's a good idea here? It has server maintenance coming. I don't know if that's going to kick me out. It better not. Can I fit it all? Oh, no. Inviting. Nice. Perfect. Inviting. It is a nice cozy sweater. Alright, so let me go put this one down. Alright, and then this one is 194. So it should go. This one needs to be nudged up. This one goes right here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I am pretty happy with that. The next one I'm going to do is also going to go here. So I'm going to just pop that down a slot now before the other one's done. But yeah, you can see like this one, numbers front and center. This one's on the back. This one's on the back. This one's on the front of the top. This one's on the side in like a fun off-center place. This one's on one sleeve. This one's front and back of the brim here. This one is like on the off-kilter top edge. Back, back, back high, back low, back centered. Sleeve, back low, back high. I just kind of put it where it fits nicest. 130. Yeah. Alright, pop back out. So our newest one is done. Put it on. Look at that. The little back spines have like that little subtle shading. The sleeves are covered in little flies. And the chest has that like abdomen ripple armor stuff that it's got going on. That's fun. And it's like, yeah, sure, it simplifies as soon as you get to the front sides, but I don't think it needed to have a bunch of detail there. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, this was the last one I did, and you can see there's a lot of like shading detail there. On each of those scales, there's like a highlight. That one was fun. All right, next. This next one I think is gonna go relatively quick. Because this one is a hat, and I think which style of hat did I settle on? I had a preference one. Robe, sweater, knit cap. Okay. Into the thing we go to design a knit cap. So these ones are a little awkward because it's all in one zone. The top is made forcibly symmetrical in a 4-way split. So I'm thinking the detail I'm gonna want here. I don't know how it's gonna work. So I just want to see, just like if I... Okay. Yeah, and then I can get 2. That is precisely what I was hoping I would be able to do. And those go to the sides, which is good. This is not going to be the final color nor the exact final shape, but it is good to know that this is an option that I have that will look the way I want it to look. So we're good there. All right, let me go grab my colors now. I imagine this is gonna fall into the colors here. So I'm just gonna do that now. Because I'm thinking this is the color it's going to end up. Okay, so we have 1, 13, 11. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1. Okay, we are at 13, 14, 15. Or 12, 11, rather. And then we're going to bring this to 13. Why aren't you in the right order either? That's slightly off from how it's supposed to be. Bump that up. Okay. Never mind. This one. Supposed to be like that. Okay. Alright, now we're good. Okay. So one. There must be like a slight difference in the hue that's not visible to me because it's being rounded. And so it's bumping one to like a slightly different line on my thing when I sort. That's okay. Ooh. 113. And then this is 8. So that's dead center. Wait, that might be the color. That is the color. Okay, well. There we go. Just getting those down. I can do mouse control on this, but I'm not a huge fan of how they implemented mouse control on these textures. Basically, moving down with the mouse, like towards my body. Right now, if it was like on my lap, would pull this down in a straight line. Moving sideways. So if I went to like my left, it would move it to my left, like, you know, how you would expect a mouse to. But if I was to do a smooth circle, it basically sticks to the grid. It doesn't just show you like, oh, this is where you are, and it will align roughly to the grid. Like if you're in the spot, it'll fill. Like it doesn't do that. So that's a little inconvenient. But it's not the end of the world. I don't need a mouse to do this. Alright, next color.
He's helping.
Okay. 1, 13, 8, 7, 6. Okay, maybe this is the color I need for that. Just to have it be the outline color for now. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Next color is in 3. Then go to 9, 10, 11. And then we do another 3. Then we're going to 8 and 10. Then we're going down to 9. Multiple times. Okay. Back to 3. Then back to 10. And down to a 5. A big jump. Dang. Oh, well, I see why that's a big jump. It's supposed to be down to 7. Thankfully, I can just reorganize these in this quite easily. Now we go down to 5. Down to 4. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Down to 3. There. This one, we go to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then Okay. This one's also a little tiny bit out of order, but that's okay. Okay. So I'm on the first one of this set. So 7, yes. Whoa, this one's also out of order. There we go. Now they're in order. Okay, so 7, yes. 5, check. 14. Back to 7. Now we're at 7. So, hop in that one. And then 12. 4, 3, 2. Back to 7. Back to 7. And then this one hops down to 10. So hop in that one. 7. 7. Oh, 7. And then we got 7. 7. Oops. And 5. And then we have an extra color. Look at that. Now we have all of the colors I'm going to need for this. So I'm realizing that because I did that, it's going to be a little more annoying to get rid of these lines, but it's fine because it's not that bad still. Interesting, they are not directly centered. Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Okay. These leaves, I think they do have a center line on them. They do. The center line is in the darkest color and does not run the full length. They do need to get wider though. think this could go, honestly, a little wider. Yeah, that's pretty good. In fact, I could even do. Yeah. They do be wider like this, maybe. Maybe this is the shape I need. It's crazy how it like warps it into this shape from this. That's wacky. Okay. Base color here. Yep. It's this. And now for the hard part of getting the triangles to a triangle. So one thing that might be easier here is I could do triangles. So maybe like here. Triangles. Yeah, it's gonna have to do. It's a little wonky on that last triangle, but it's like kind of has to be. I think that. think I see the problem here. Okay, so this goes from here to here. Yes, okay. Which then goes to here? No. Which goes from here to here. That's better. So this one should start here. And go to there. Why is that not lining up now? Hello? Okay. Wow, that was a lot of thinking. But I now have it ready to get some shading / lighting. Woo. Okay, so leaves are now casting a shadow. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This is starting to shape up quite satisfactorily. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a little shadow edge here. Okay, look at this. Okay, leaves definitely need a little love. here. That's quite nice. Then I'm going to utilize this body shade that it's got, this green, for its number. The number is 191. I'm thinking like maybe somewhere part of me is like, it would be so cool if it was on the leaf. In a spot like that is kind of cool, honestly, having it be on the leaf like that. So I think I want it to be one further over. And that is a Kurna cap. Hello, hello. Indeed. Alright, this is... Like a crisp fall morning. This okay. Yes, I am correct. Crisp Kurna cap. Look at that. That is a little acorn hat if I've ever seen one. That is truly an acorn hat if I have ever seen one. All right. There we are. Beautiful. Let's go put this hat on. It's a little acorn. This one is not like a one-to-one match with the exact design, just because it's the design itself. There's only one row of little triangles, but I think it looks nicest here with multiple, given that it has extra height. You got the little leaves on the head. I'm quite happy with how that came out. Okay, next. This next one that we've got is also a hat. This is a little more complex of a hat. I'm not 100% sure what my plan is for it. So we get to figure that out together. Whoop. Alright. Just make sure that this one's actually in order before I start. Okay, not quite. Okay, this goes up. This goes up. Thankfully, it's not too hard to like manually sort on. Like Google Sheets is actually quite easy to just click and drag around the different lines here. Oh, okay, I see what this is. I was like, where does this color come into play? I see. Okay, need to copy all of these. Put these down. Do that. What color is this? The second darkest. Oh, wow. Okay, I see what that is. So that is the darkest of the shades of green. Yeah. Okay, so that is in the right spot then. Cool, cool, cool. I think I have these in the right order then. So this one is going to be a brimmed hat.
Oh.
Alright. First we got 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. And we've got 2. And we got 8, 9, 10. Yep. And then 13. So that's 11, 13. Yep. It's 1 higher in vividness. Another 1 higher in vividness. 9. And this is another 2. And then this is the same vividness as the last one, but it's down at a 5. And then this is at a 5. This is 8, 9, 10. Eleven. Then this is still down at 5. This is now at 12. So 5, 4, 3, 2. This is now at 9. Okay, and this is down at 7. This is back to 12, but then down to 5. Okay. Then down to a 4. Beautiful. Alright, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3. And we start at 7. Oh, this should be the second darkest color. What am I doing? Okay. 4, yes. 5. And this one's at 5. And then we're down at 4. Forget that you need to have saturation to have that work. Four, 2, Wait a minute. Wait, over budget? No. Where is this extra color coming from? Because 1, 4, 5. Oh no, this is 15 colors. You're right. Okay. No, I'm good. I'm good. That makes sense. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. This one actually just is using the full range of color options. So this goes to a 9. It's a little silly. The vividness stays at 4. And the brightness stays at 2. Minimal change. So, look at this. So the base color is going to be like this. Ooh, wrong thing. Boop, boop, boop. Base color. Yeah. So all of these parts are inherently symmetrical. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to do like try to one-to-one adapt any singular aspect of this mon, but instead go for the vibe, which should be not too difficult. I think I'm going to do one wider here. Okay. I did not think this out correctly enough. All right. This is what I want to do, but I need to break this down into reasonable pieces. So let's start by measuring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 10, 20, 30, 34 wide. Okay. $34 wide. Which is only divisible by 2. And 17. This is awkward. Okay, well, I have 17 2-block segments. Okay. So what if I did... Or I could look at it. Okay, I have 2 17-block segments. If I want to put 2 things in each, I can't have a shared size of gap between them. So I want to do 1 thing per 17-block segment. So what if I just did a 7 wide piece equidistant apart? And then that would be 10 to either side. So this would be like so. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, no, it's 68 wide. I miscounted. Though 68 wide might make things easier. Okay. The spacing ain't the same. Okay. So now there's a gap of 8 between these. This is a gap of 9. Do this, gap of 8. Gap of 8. Equidistant. Yes. Okay. That works. So now what I need to do is this. Okay. It's coming together. Okay. Peace. Okay. Okay. You might be wondering like why I'm doing it with this outline. And the idea is that I'm going to have this section look like kind of the body of, you know, the serpentine body of this snake. Which actually, I'm realizing I did not swap the sprite for the last one. I'm going to swap the sprite for this one just so you know what I'm working from. Do. So for the last one that I was doing, it was this. But for the one that I'm doing now, it is this. Hello, little friend. Okay. So what I'm thinking about doing, kind of referencing the sparkliness that it has. I don't know how I'm gonna do that like in a way that satisfies me. So I think for now what I'm gonna start with is this. Just a little belt of highlight. Okay. And then to kind of emphasize the reflectiveness, I'm gonna do these middle bands and a larger ribbon of the light color. And then the shadow is going to be a smaller little ribbon. I'm pretty happy with that. This is exceedingly satisfying for me. Okay. And then this one is going to be a little tricky, because the idea is to kind of replicate that effect. But on this strip, which I guess is as wide. So let's start by blocking out these. And this should be easy enough to do because this is just going to be oops. I want this one to be this color and this color. Oh, but I could offset them. Oh, that would be way cooler. Can I just do this? Kinda. Though these are 8 wide, right? Yeah. And these are 8 wide. So yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect. Though I'm realizing this now means that they do touch. If I do 4 over. I think I like 4 over more. Let's do 2 over. A slight offset. Ooh. Can go do this. I'm gonna do this. Just gotta get this little stretch here. Okay. That is clean. And then what is its number? 202. then this will be... Roll, bro. Okay, this one, utterly sick. And the top just being the darkest color is just kind of a soft like nod to it being a tire, like it's a wheel, that's rolling. So there's nothing up there, and then there's like a hint of the eye design in the zeros. And this goes right here. I'm really happy with how the highlights look on this one. That's awesome. Well, I've cleared out 3 of the designs. So my goal is to fill this entire room, and I have every design that will fill this room planned. Though there is one fake one that will be in this room that has not yet had its final design done. We don't have its finalized sprite at all. Everyone else in this room does. Have like their sprite and their color palettes fully determined and their design fully done. So the ones that I have left, let's see if I can, pull my reference. So the one that I'm currently wearing is based on the first stage of one of our pseudo legendary lines. The next one is also going to be one of the other pseudo legendaries. Not all of the pseudos got into this set. And that's mostly because we have so many pseudos. It mostly stems from, everyone wants to have some cool, awesome design. And we weren't in the business of telling people, no, you can't have a cool, awesome design because I already had one. Like, we weren't going to do that to people. That's kind of rude. And so what we settled on is, as long as your pseudo legendary can have a different niche that it fills, it's fine. Do whatever. Or chill with it. But the moment that your pseudo legendary design fills the exact same niche as another, that's a problem. So as long as you can justify the design and the purpose of it with it, not just outright being a copy of another one we already have, then you can have it. So Oroboro and its line is very bulky but balanced, leaning physical, pretty across the board, decent stats, with a lot of HP. The next one, the one that's going to go in this spot right here, is based on Prince Rupert's drops. The little, you tap the tail and the whole thing goes, but if you hit the bulb, it just goes dunk, 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 and nothing happens. So it's like this cracked glass, and it's literally, the idea is that it's a glass cannon. It has super high offense stats and no defense. So it's fast, it's strong, it's cool, and it will die if you throw a paper clip at it, and that paper clip happens to be made of anything that is not air. Just instant death. So that was kind of the mindset for that set of pseudos. So those two fill very separate niches. There's another one that leans more special attack, another one that leans more strongly physical attack, but in a different direction. Like it's like physical attack, physical defense. It's not super balanced. So we have like a variety with the different pseudos that we have. And I kind of looked at it as like, well, Gen 3 in Pokemon had like what, 2 pseudo legendary lines, because you get the Salamence line, get Metagross line, so it's like just right there, there's 2 pseudo legendaries straight on in the game. And they did not introduce as many mons as we did, so I think we are allowed to have a little extra, because we have a little over 200. I had like 16. So we have like a pretty beefy dex as far as like scale goes, as far as volume of Fakemon goes. So there's a lot of different like spaces for Fakemon that are pseudo legendaries to kind of to fill in. The line that you see here, they're kind of awkwardly split up, but it's fine. This one here, number 192, and then 194, and then 190. Why are you? What? Did I base that on the friggin'? It's 195. Dang it! It's not 191. I looked at the name on the sprite before we had adjusted. Alright, I'm gonna go fix that. Oops. And I'm gonna have to redisplay once it's done. Okay, so this is supposed to be 195. And how is my 5 set up? Okay. So this is good. And then we go up here. 1, 2. 3, 4. Do like that. That's pretty good. That looks good to me. 195. Boop. Okay, fixed it. I was like, that number's wrong. So this line here, where you see like the 192, 194, 195, and 197, these are all based on a series of minor legendaries, kind of, that we have, that are based, we call them the 4 Horsemon of the Apocalypse. So this one's a War. It's just like a big dragon thing with like a hooked halberd tail and these crazy wings and a skull on its head, and it looks awesome. Then this one is Pestilence, obviously. Bros flies. This one is Kernicap, which evolves into Starvade. Basically, Kernicap is this like partially eaten acorn thing. And you might think, oh, the acorn is it, but it's actually like it ate that and is living inside of it. And then when it evolves, it's almost kind of imagine like a mega Sableye type deal, but holding a piece of fruit that is like rotting, and it's like, this is mine. So that's kind of its vibe. And then, I see Gwen is playing Hades. Yeah, she's off in the bedroom playing Hades. But yeah, then this one here is death. This is the first stage, which is Griminion, and the idea is that Griminion is like a little femur type thing, but it's like a little bat, and it's like meh. And then when it evolves, it actually there's one that evolves, and then 4 others come and serve as minions to lift it up like it's on a palanquin, which is named Palogrim, for Pallor, Palanquin, or Palanquin, and Grim, obviously. So that was a fun name. And that one is like centaur-like body. Each leg is a Griminion with its like wings closed up, and its face is just gone. And then it's got these like bone scythe hands, and it's got this like robe with a hood and a horse skull as a head. Awesome design. Really cool. My sketch was not nearly as cool as the final one that our artist at the time, Maru Circle, was able to beautifully draw up for it. But yeah, there's only a few spots left in this room. The last spots, as I said, one of them is going to be one of our pseudo legendaries. It's going to be the glass cannon one's middle stage, whereas this is the so this line, it's Oroboro, Hodado, Koringnarok. Oroboro is just an Ouroboros, and it's like a little hoop snake wheel that and rolls. Hodado is a Hodag, which is like another mythical creature, and Hodado no longer rolls but still has that shape, so like it stands on all fours, and then it has legs now basically, and then its tail curls up and comes down at a point in front of its head, and then when it's fully evolved, it's Koringnarok, and that is based on what is it called? A Grootslang, I think. And so that one, it's bulkier, it's more elephant-like, because a Grootslang is like a snake with an elephant's head or something along those lines. So it still has legs, but they're now bulky elephant, thick trunks of legs, huge body, huge head with these gigantic ears that glisten with gold, like inset gold, scales and whatnot. It has these big tusks that come down, and then it's got this huge tail that curves up and around and comes down to rest in front of its face, where the end of it is an elephant trunk, little grabby nose, and then there's gigantic spikes coming out. It's really cool. I love that one. I designed that line, and again, Maru Circle did an amazing job just drawing up really good renditions of them, as opposed to my, at that time especially, not good ones. Yeah, so middle stage of the glass cannon is going to go there. Right here is going to be a hat that's inspired by Media Robo, which is a weather machine minor legendary. Almost a mythical type thing, but more minor legendary. And the idea of that is when we were... This was an ongoing joke at our college, because we would have harsh winters. And the joke was that if you want the winter to be less harsh, you have to sacrifice a freshman to the weather machine. And so we had this joke idea that it's the weather machine that takes the sacrifices and changes the weather for you. So it's this, like, it's almost a washing machine body, like it's a square body, and then instead of a door at the front, like for a front, like a washer, it's like this big chompy mouth, and just like slams down and just eats things. It's got these arms that are like made of think like dryer vent like that sort of tubing. It's like those like goofy plasticky tubes that are all stretchy. It has those, and they end in these two big like vice grip claws that can just go tunk tunk and just grab people and just like eat them. And then on the top of its body is like this like smokestack little like out vent, and then that just blasts out snow constantly, or potentially warmth. And then that is resting on top of a cloud, sort of akin to the genie Pokemon of the seasons. So that is going to go here, and that's going to be a hat that's going to be representing the top of its head and the little smokestack type deal. So that one's going to be pretty simple, but I think that's going to be a fun little one. It's going to be the style of hat too. And this spot is going to be Malagama, which is one of our box legendaries, so to speak. Malagama is this serpentine, more like Chinese, Japanese, Korean style, like long dragon design. But it's an alligator's head, and it has this like flowing mane of white hair, and it's got these chevrons of bright blue and bright pink. And it's a fairy water type, even though it's clearly a dragon. And it has this like halo of little gleaming like diamonds of light that are blue and pink alternating. There's like two blue, two pink, two blue, two pink, two blue. Is kind of how it works. And then we have a more European style dragon as Quargodile, which is this big armored dragon. I think dragon flying. That has like these huge wings that have like gold membranes. It has this gold armor. This like big crest on its head that like expands out in a Y like horns. But still an alligator, which is meant to evoke the fact that our college mascot was an alligator. It's got these brilliant green, like emerald green scales. Really cool. And that one is going to be a coat. It's going to resemble its armor. By the way, the one for Malagama, because it's got these like pink and blue chevrons going down its body, that's going to be a sleeveless dress. Then we have one here that is for Quasala, which is the third member of the legendary trio of sorts. There's four. It is an extant member that is a hellbender, which was almost the mascot of our college, which is a large salamander from the Northeast United States. And Quasala lives in lava and is this big salamander thing. We don't have a final design for it yet. It's the one that we don't have here. But that's going to go there. Once we have that design done, I'm going to know what the design is going to be. And I'm going to be able to do that from there. And then right here is going to be the mythical, which is Whirlistig, which is my character in the game, who is the professor of the region. Professor Twig has a stick insect as a partner at a certain point in the game. And then you can get one as well. And that stick insect is the mythical, named Whirlistig. It has these little like dizzy eyes, and it's partially inspired by maple seeds and how they helicopter as they come down, and also just stick insects. It has a signature move that you can only get through sort of like an end post-game quest that gives it that when you learn it, it works kind of similar to how Keldeo does, where when it learns its signature move, it changes forms. In this case, the same thing happens. Whirlistig learns its signature move, and it changes into its treant form, where it still has 6 limbs. Like, it has limbs on its head, limbs at where it's like a little below its mouth, and then limbs for its legs that stick down. It still has all of those limbs, but now it has this huge, like, tree canopy, and it has this, like, rage, and it's really cool. Its eyes now are like these little bushy things, and there's just these red glowing dots, and there's like this swirled pattern on its forehead that glows red. Really cool stuff. I love that one a lot. It's my signature mod for a reason. I designed it. And again, Maru Circle is the one to draw that one up, and it was amazing. And then the last one right here is going to be the true end to the legendary trio, because basically one thing was split into 3, a la Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. And this is the Kyurem of that line, which is named Revigator, which I have found out was apparently like a radioactive mug that you could get way back in the olden times, and that was seen as like a good thing to have. Very funny. But Revigator is going to go here and is going to be represented by a brimmed cap. The Whirlistig one is going to be a short sleeve tee that just literally has a Whirlistig on it, like a graphic tee. But this one's going to be a brimmed cap, which is just a baseball cap, and it's going to be like the top of its face. Also, obviously, a Gator. Yeah, I'm really excited to have this room finished up, and I know I haven't talked a lot about how I love this game because I have been fully locked in the zone, and I've been going for almost 3 hours now, which is rare. You know, I love this when I have been in the zone for almost 3 hours on a Wednesday, the day I am most likely to miss a stream because I am tired, because I went to work. And so this is a treat for you. But it's also a treat for me. I love Animal Crossing in general. I've played since the GameCube, which is the first that released in the US. And it holds a special place in my heart, the original game, because that was like one of the only games that a lot of my family played. When I was a kid growing up, you know, my sister, who is almost 10 years older than me, and my siblings, who are both a little older than my sister, they all played games. And over time, my sister kind of drifted away from games, and she's still down to play games here and there, but she's not in practice, she's not in the loop, she hasn't been playing nearly as much. She sort of grew out of it, but my brothers and I never did. But when it came to most games, you know, it would be like maybe me and both of my brothers played. There'd be the occasional game that all 4 of us played, like me and my siblings. And then there'd be some games that had an abnormal sort of divide. Animal Crossing. I shared a town with my mother, who does not play games often. She plays some games on her phone now, but like she's not like a gamer. I own a console or I own a gaming PC. Like that's never been her. She's never been into games really. She's always kind of given the vibe when I was a kid that it's like a little bit of a waste of time, but I'm having fun, and that's what mattered more. But she's always been more of like, I like to read books or, you know, see a movie here and there, but especially books, or making art. But Animal Crossing connected with her in a way that no other games really did. And like I could convince her to sometimes play Mario Kart with me, and she'd struggle, but we'd have fun. But Animal Crossing was something she wanted to play. She would go and she would boot up and she would play as her character and do stuff around the town for a while. Like, she would pick up the game and go play. And the way the game worked back then is like everyone had equal rights within the town. And the answer was you didn't have many rights. But I think we had a town that was myself, my mom, my brother, and my sister. Like, all of us were on it. But then a lot of us also had our own separate towns. My mom didn't. She just had the one that we shared. And it was such a unique thing. Because there were so few games that my mom actively, like, would seek out playing. It just was not her vibe. It was not her like, entertainment medium of choice. But she would seek out Animal Crossing. She would go and play it. So Animal Crossing always had this special place in my heart because it was an abnormal collection of my family who played. I think Brett maybe played a little of the first one, but he was never huge on it. But my oldest brother Sean was super into it and still is. He's sent me many things in this game. Helped me. He made his own, like, Excel, or not even Excel, his Google sheet where we could put in the prices of our turnips each day, and it would predict whether or not one of us was going to get, like, a big boom in value so that we could all go to one person's island and sell. And, you know, there was a part of me that was hoping that in 2020 my sister might get a Switch and get a copy of Animal Crossing, because so many people did. So many people sought out Animal Crossing as a way to just deal with what was COVID at that time, where everyone was locked down and you know, not getting to socialize as much. The idea of having this game that could be this space for people to socialize was really powerful for a lot of people, and I didn't play it for the most part like that. Like, there was a little bit of socialization happening, but not nearly to that degree. And there's a part of me that was hoping my sister might pick it up so that we could have those moments again. But she did, and that was fine. But I do still tell her about some of the things that I do in this game, and because she's played Animal Crossing, like, there's still that memory in her heart of how it was, and it's one of the few games that I feel like I can kind of, like, share. Oh, it glows. That's nice. It's one of those few games that I feel like I can share details of outside of, like, with my brothers who are the gamers of the family outside of me. Or I'll sometimes, like, tell my mom about different things that I've done, and I don't know. There's just something very magical about it to me. I'm just gonna close it up because I would like these to grow a new one here. Yeah, I did some redecorating around my island recently. Also, yes, I am ignoring the buried patches. A bunch of them are fossils, and a bunch of them are gyroids that I have not undug. So don't worry about it. I got a little Triforce over here. These gnomes came from my oldest brother. Every time I hear that, my brain just fills in, like, the fanfare for the start of the main theme from A Link to the Past. But yeah, like this game still does, like, just, it holds such a special place in my heart. And there's certain elements of Animal Crossing that have not connected with me as much as they connect with other people, and that's okay. But one thing that I've always loved about Animal Crossing, and something I spent, again, a lot of time on in this game, was making custom designs. I love to design things, and I loved doing it as a kid before I had any artistic skill, but now that I'm a pixel artist, now that I know how to do all this art that is pixel by pixel, I can actually do things that are interesting here, and I've done so many. Like, all of these. Are done painstakingly, pixel by pixel. I have an undershirt because I wear an undershirt. So I use that on days that I don't have a shirt for, like after work. Or I have this one that's a shirt that I don't have anymore. This was a green dress shirt I used to have. Now I have this one that replaced it. And this shirt is literally, like, if I'm wearing that shirt and I'm playing this game, I put that shirt on. I have this hat. Find it. Oh, it's a little out of reach for me. I think this was an anniversary present or something along those lines. It might have been anniversary. It might have been birthday. I can't remember exactly when I got this. But it was a gift from Gwen that has one of my sprites. And she spent a ton of time hunting down someone who could manufacture a hat like this, who had the ability to do as many colors as I had for the sprite. And it came through pretty dang well, like pretty impressively, for being an embroidered 64 by 64 sprite, which I think this sprite comes out to more like 32 wide, but still, that's a pretty high resolution for something like embroidery, and it has a lot of jagged edges, which is not the comfort zone of embroidery. I'll put this a little closer. You can see the little guy. Well, I made this hat in Animal Crossing so that I could wear it on some days and have it there. And so I literally took the sprite and I condensed it to fit, I think it's like a 16 by 16 space or something like that. Like, it's a tiny little guy. His feet are literally 2 by 2 squares. Whereas here, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 by 6 circles on the big one here, and then I think this is another 6 by 6, and then there's like a little one in the back. But those had to be condensed to like 2/3 scale roughly. The eyes had to be condensed into just 2 black dots. But it's so fun. I can put it on, and you can tell that that's this hat. Look at that. And it's like pretty well to scale within the game, and I love that. It's so fun. Other designs that I've done, you know, obviously there's more of these Fakemon ones, but I have a white dress shirt. Boom. Dress shirt, white. I also have a lab coat. It's part of a Halloween costume that I did when I was Professor Birch. I have each of those old shirts. Like, all of my merch lives on here. These are 2 that I've owned personally. This one I didn't own yet when I made this design, but it was coming in the mail and I was so excited and I got it. And then, you know, obviously this one I designed here first, and then got it after I made it. But I have so much nostalgia for all of these, and like the process of making them all. And it's so fun and exciting. And I love it. It's such a fun creative outlet where I can put so much work in and have these like really fun clothes in game as a result of just exclusively my own hard work. And that's something that there's not a lot of games that have this level of creativity. And the thing is, like, Animal Crossing has always had this. This concept of clothing design, like where you're individually tailoring different outfit pieces, that's from Animal Crossing New Leaf. I didn't play New Leaf. This was the first Animal Crossing I got to experience that in. And literally, this was a shirt I made for my brother because he kept getting dabs. And he wanted to have it on his island to taunt his friend and also to have for himself. And this is literally like the dab from, I think, New Leaf. And then I condensed it to fit on this hat and then manually sprited it on my computer so that I could then make it in the game and then give it to him. And it's so bad in a number of ways. I hate the colors, but that's half the fun. I guess as far as like the other colors ought to go. But it's just like, this is something I've spent so much time on. Just having fun making neat designs. Over here, I have a bunch of other ones. So I have this like arrow that I had to like point things out. I think that was originally something I used. Like I think I originally used the arrow in the Fakemon room before I had these, where it was kind of to denote the direction that the flow was going. And now I feel like that flow is more obvious. But I have this like Premier Bowl design that's based on the Premier Bowl we have in game. That's just like a rug underneath all of the designs. I have these bamboo leaves that if I go to my bamboo garden, you'll see are literally just there to make it look like there's leaves from the bamboo on the ground. It looks better in the summer and during the day. I had to kind of pick and choose my battles there as far as the colors went. But it looks so good. And it makes this area really just lovely and fun to look at. I have, you look here, these stones, these used to be the path to my house. When I first made my house, I had a little stone path like this before I could make an actual stone path. And then I went through and I made a stone path all the way around my house that I could set the walls onto. And then there's like these little bushes growing, and then I've got bamboo there, and I've got flowers here. And it's just this like lovely, I love the aesthetic of this house. I went for like a little bit of a Japanese baby castle vibe. Yeah, like this one here, literally I made it on my computer, and then I used a conversion tool to convert it into a palette here. If I redid it by hand, it would probably be even better. But this is fine, and I have a level of nostalgia for it because I made this design before I owned the game. And I put it into our Discord server and said, hey, if anyone on the team wants this, I made this design that's our logo, which this was our logo at the time, to represent the members of our team in the 2019-2020 year. I have eyebrows. Why? Because I have eyebrows. I made eyebrows and I use them as a face paint so that I can literally have eyebrows in game, because I was not satisfied not having them. I have this bamboo garden sign that I made for my bamboo garden. I think I made this like in the car with my mom going somewhere. I have this tileable pebble texture that I use in conjunction with dirt to make a walking path in my farm that I made. I have my stained wood wall. I have gray walls that are literally to be like the basic walls in some of the rooms. I have the brown carpet floor. These wedding portraits. So these ones are also converted, but what I did is I manually tweaked the color palettes to have a little more contrast and to pop more so that it works well. But it's literally like these. I made these because I got Gwen a copy of this game because I thought she would enjoy it, and she did. She did play it for a decent while. But I wanted to be able to give these to her, and I couldn't give them to her yet in any of the ways that I wanted to. So it was a little unfortunate on that end, but I at least put them up in my room, in my house, and called it a day. I was hoping I could like mail it to her on like an easel or on a sign, and I could not do that. Yeah, you can see my backgrounds over the course of me having this game. I had this one as the original, and then I switched to this one while I had this game, and then I switched to this one also while I had this game. And it's funny that they're like perfectly spaced apart from each other, which is fun. This is like a logo that I designed as a joke for work, and I have it here. And I made this myself. I made this replica of it, and you can kind of tell that it says Megacube if you look at it, but it's obviously not super clear, and you can see that the text at the bottom, it's supposed to say Mega Work, Mega Done. That's barely legible, but that's like half the fun of this design, is that I compressed this like actual logo graphic into a 32 by 32 image. My welcome mat that's over there, and it was a gift from my sister-in-law and her husband, then fiance, and I don't remember if it was a Christmas gift or something to that effect. I think it was, and we've just had that as our welcome mat since they gave it to us. I'm 90% sure that the art on it is AI, and they aren't fully aware of that. But that's okay. It's fine. I think the funnier part is that the company that was manufacturing these, they let you customize it, but the customization options were AI generated, and they still limited you. They still said, yeah, there's one tabby design. I'm sorry. Generate a new one, punk. That's the whole point of it. If you're going to have limited options, you might as well pay someone to do it. That's how I look at it. But we do love it because it has our 3 cats on it, and it was a very thoughtful gift, even if it is 1000% AI generated. But it's not egregiously so, in like a way that's like you look at it and you're just like, oh god. So that's fine. We're okay with it. I really like it because it's just a cute little welcome mat, and it's got our boys, our AI generated boys. But this I made by hand, and I like this version even more because of that. But I was able to like make some changes that better match. Like, these are our cats. One has green eyes, one has yellow eyes, one has green eyes but like slightly less bright of a green. Like, one's almost blue green. And it's like, I love the level of customization you can have here. I mean, my joke nips here sign for turnips, this sign, I use it all the time in the Happy Home Paradise DLC, which I don't enjoy as much. I'm not as big of like a house maker in this game, but this is funny, and it makes me giggle every time I see the Nips Here sign, and I love that fact, and it makes me happy. And I place it as a little Easter egg in a bunch of my Happy Home Paradise designs, and it's great. And it's like, there's like no game that has this level of customization, and I just adore that. It's so fun. I've spent so long on all of those like designs, and you can see there's like still some of the placeholder ones are still there. But like, I did so much to get those designs set up. If I was more of a musician, I'd probably have custom music as my town theme, but I don't. I mean, it is custom, but it's just if I open this, you can kind of hear it a little bit there. It's the Song of Healing from Majora's Mask. But it's played at a different rhythm to it so that it can fit all of the notes in. So I don't know, I didn't like how it sounded when I spaced it out more. Because it doesn't extend the notes, it just goes like, eh. Like, I did have them extended, but not all of them could. Like, I don't know, there was some sort of awkward thing about it, so I just said, screw it, I'm smushing it. And it almost has this, like, it has a very different rhythm, because it's not meant to be played in that way, but it is. Okay, here's my gravel, my little pebbles, on a base of dirt. In my little farm. And it's like, I didn't heavily change my island. I put people's houses where they are, and they have not moved. My island has, for the most part, remained as... Oh, I forgot I can get him flowers. Does anybody have... That's fine. Forgot that I knew I was missing someone's flowers. Like, my island has, for the most part, stayed pretty natural. I let the map come up. You can see. So, this island that's in the back here, that is unnatural. I carved out a river to go around it. I don't think that was there originally. And I said to myself, that area stays wild. That might have actually been there from the start, too. So I let weeds grow rampant there. If I vault over. It's covered in weeds. I did put some glowing moss down and some vines because they feel natural. There's a lot of trees. I put a bush here just, again, because it feels natural. Hey, little Woosty man. But tons of trees. There's pears here, which is my island's native fruit. I have a CPR dummy who is just there to pretend to be dead. Just looks like, you just like look and there's like a little like dead person sticking out. Like I got this CPR dummy, I forget when, but like really early on, and I carved out a little spot in the weeds. And in the summer, this looks great because the grass is so tall, and you just see like these toes sticking out. It's so fun. And now I have a guardian here because that also felt sufficiently naturalistic. Go wake it up. I didn't want this area to feel too sculpted, but I also didn't want it to feel... Look at him go. Goodbye, friend. But yeah, I wanted this area to feel pretty natural. Kind of walk back over. I've got my little goddess statue to pray to. I have a rupee up there. I also have a rupee over there. I have another rupee hidden back here on my secret beach. I have a rupee hidden behind my farm. I'm not going over there because it's too far away. I have kicked one person off the island total, and that is because I wanted to have Mineru. He's out and about right now. But yeah, for the most part, I've stuck to anyone who came to my island stays, because that's how it was in the original game. Is just whoever was in your town was in your town, and you know, maybe someone who showed up, maybe stole someone from someone else's town. Who's here? What? Hello? Who's camping? Oh, hi. Wow, she's cute. Goodbye. But yeah, like I don't know, I love so much about this game, and I prefer some of the elements of the original. You know, that static nature. So that's something I tried to stick to, was I kind of just placed things where I placed them, and they don't move from there. The houses are where I put the houses. The, you know, shop and the museum are where I put the shop and the museum. All of those elements of my game are all fully, you know, mostly static. All I've done is adjust the rivers to give it a little more of a whimsical but still naturalistic vibe. You know, you can see I have this river kind of gets jutted into by my house's foundation. But like you see, like I've got that island there with the waterfall. You can see where I've got a few other waterfalls around the map. You know, I put stairs in places that I felt stairs would be naturally fit to be. You know, as ways up and down on those areas. I put bridges in places that I felt they were convenient. When I expanded the river in the middle of the map, and I had to add 2 bridges because there were paths there already. But yeah, I'm so happy with my island here. And I don't know, like there's so many people who would be like, they would see like that's not perfect and cutesy and you know, sculpted to perfectly match the vibe. And I'm like, that's fine. I don't want my island to match some vibe. The vibe is that it's an island. The vibe is that it's a town. I can't be the one to determine everything, and I don't want to be. So I played it a little fast and loose when I put things where I put them. And I'm honestly so much happier for it. I think my town feels more like an Animal Crossing 1 town than like 80% of the towns that I see. And that's no hate. I think it's so cool that people spend hundreds of hours just making their town how they want it to look. But that couldn't be me. I did a few things that I thought would be fun, and I kind of left it at that. You know, like you can see, I have my my bamboo garden, the bottom left corner. I've got my farm, bottom right corner. I've got like this little like park area in the dead center at the bottom. I've got the little pond area just off center to the left and north. Because I guess northwest. You know, north left. I don't know, it just feels, everything about where I put things just felt right and cozy and a natural thing to do. Yeah, I don't know. I love this game. I've played so much of it. I have caught so many critters. I'm not 100% on literally any of them, but I have so many of them. Yeah, Saw Shark. That's what he's called. Yeah, I just have all of these. And I don't know, it's fun to have. And it makes me happy. But yeah, that's gonna be all for today's stream. You know, it is 10:24 my time. I have been streaming for 3.5 hours. I think that just goes to show how much I do love this game. This is a game that I love. And, you know, sure, there's some things that other Animal Crossing games wouldn't have done or did differently. And there's some things where I feel like stylistically the game has grown a little more sterile and generic. It doesn't look... I don't know, when I see it, I don't immediately see Animal Crossing, but that's not a thing I have felt from just this game. I felt that from New Leaf. In general. I don't know, New Leaf was the first one that I looked at. I'm like, that doesn't look like Animal Crossing to me. Like, I just looked at it. I was like, that's not the Animal Crossing style. That's just generic game. But then there's so many people who came from New Leaf who look at this and they're like, this is generic. I'm like, I don't know. This to me looks like New Leaf. Like New Leaf, this is just New Leaf HD. Like visually, from a design standpoint, from a graphical standpoint, the rendering techniques feel like an expansion of what we saw in New Leaf, not an expansion of what we saw on the Wii and the GameCube and the N64 and all of those different devices. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's something magical about this game, and it's very cozy. It's a game that often I do just not play for a long time, but then I come back and it feels like I'm like visiting a town that I've been to. You know, when I came back to this game with the Switch 2 upgrade, it just felt like I came home. You know, and I went around my town and I, you know, talked to all my villagers and I, you know, put together some new paths and planned some things. It's just there's something just wonderful about the fact that you can even do that in this game. And I think, you know, as I said, there's in some ways this game does have some problems. Does have some things that I don't personally care for. But I don't know, it connects with me in a way that not a lot of games do on my creative side. And there have been plenty of times that I have foregone making a sprite in the real world because I'm too busy doing pixel art in this game. And there's something really fun in that. That this game is able to pull me away from quote-unquote more productive art. It's just, there's something great about that. And I don't know, like I get why it's not everyone's cup of tea. I get why some people just do not vibe with Animal Crossing, but I kind of do. I don't always click with it in all the ways that it clicks with everyone else, but I click with certain aspects of it. You know, I remember when this game was first announced, I wasn't sure if I was going to get it. and my brother was having fun, and I was making some sprites for him at his request to use as textures in the game. And after doing all that for him, he got me the game as a gift. Like, he just straight up, like, I don't remember if he gave me a gift card for it and said, you're buying Animal Crossing with this, or what, but I got a digital copy of the game from him. It might be that he just bought, like, a digital copy and sent me the code or something like that. And that was his thank you present for me, making him all those things. And then I got sucked in. And here I am, like 5 years later almost. I still come back to it. And I still make new things. And I'm like, now that I have access to these, I'm like, oh, I want to make like custom things that I can have get sucked into stuff or come out of things. I have, like, you know, nip to your lightning. Which mostly just looks yellow. Or I could have stone lightning. It's probably going to be transparent in the middle. Oh yeah, it definitely is, because it, like, you can barely see it. So that's interesting. How does it work with the pebbles? Yeah, you can see that there's, like, they're barely present. Yeah. Love this game. Okay, I'm calling it here. I gotta end this. I could ramble about this game for another half hour, and I gotta go to sleep because I got work tomorrow. And there's a new Nintendo Direct coming tomorrow. And I gotta sneakily watch that at work so that I can then, you know, talk about it on my next stream on Saturday. But yeah, no. Animal Crossing, man. It's great. It's great. So that's the end of this first Games I Love. The next one is not going to be on my Switch. I'm gonna preface with that. That there were some hot contenders this year that were new games, and I went, I can't have new games here. So I pulled away from that. But just know an honorable mention, I will say, for this year was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. My 10 out of 10 game from last year and from the last many years. One of the best games I've ever played. Like, pick it up. On Switch 2, it runs at a stable 720p. On Switch 1, it was a dynamic range with 720p as the max. So you are getting a much crisper image if you play it on Switch 2. It also, in handheld mode, looks great because on Switch 2, it's running at a max of 540p, which is an exact half scale resolution for the 1080p screen. So that just, it looks clean. Like, obviously it is a lower res than a lot of things, but it looks fine. Game looks great, gameplay is great. I had a blast. Highly recommend. But I didn't want to throw that in because I'm done with the game, and if I load my save, there's spoilers inherently if you look at the world. So I can't show you, but I do love that game so very much. Like that, oh, That's all. That's it. I'm done. Thank you so much if you joined me live or after the fact. Either way is cool with me, as long as you had some fun. That said, I am going to go do human things as humans do, and you probably should too. And last thing I'm going to mention, this is unrelated to this, so it's not going to last long. I saw Iron Lung last night. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I left a review. It has some, like, a sprinkle of mild spoilery details. It's nothing crazy. I generally spoiler mark all of my reviews on the off chance that I say something that contains spoilers, but I'm not usually too spoilery. Sometimes I am, but this one I don't think I was. I avoided talking about a lot of details, specifically to avoid spoiling. But it's actually a decent movie. I was surprised. I don't know. I feel like YouTuber movies don't come with a great expectation in my head. But yeah, that's it. No more. I'm wrapping up. Goodbye. I'm leaving now. I'm gonna hit the stop button before I can ramble more. If you want to see my review, there's a post on my community page about Iron Lung and my review of it. So, and if you just want to know the score, I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5, 7 out of 10. Good. A good movie. A movie that made me go, wow, that was worth the money. Which is kind of the goal. Alright, goodbye.